And we're live. Hi, and welcome to Guftagu, where on Carnival of Hope, Season 2. Well, what is the Carnival of Hope? It is basically to bring happy parenting to get you into a happier zone. That is the reason why we have the Carnival of Hope. We're bringing you various programs. We have the program on parenting, where we have deep parenting league. Every day, a parental coach is coming out and giving you various topics. We have with us also our experts today on Guftagu, which is our talk show. We have a whole program designed on career strategies and career planning, which is Udan. We have Shakshat, which is a personality development course. These are all Zoom-based programs. You need to do pre-registrations, some of them. We also have DPL shorts, which are reels, which we got into Instagram this time. And we also have storytelling, which is Pitara Kahaniyoga, because anything and everything can be taught in a story. And today, yes, we are talking about a very, very important topic. It's something which is close to our heart: parental conflict. What is parental conflict? Why does it happen? There are so many divorce cases happening, so many people separating, so many people not happy in their relationships today. And that is why we decided that we need to bring experts to tell you how to handle this. Many a times things can be resolved if we have the proper communication, or we know what is the reason, which can be cut at the bud to build a beautiful future and have wonderful children. Because all our behavior and all that we do affects our children the most. So let's meet our experts today when we're going to talk about parental conflict. Hi and welcome. Welcome Himanshu Sahu.
Hello.
Welcome Himanshu Sahu, who's an ICF PCC certified life coach, deep parenting coach, student career strategist, and a relationship counselor. Hi and welcome.
Hello.
We have Rekha Subramanian, a relationship coach, parenting coach, wealth coach, DMIT counselor, founder of Bliss Training Academy. Hi and welcome, Rekha.
Hi, Sandhya. Thank you for having me here.
We also have with us a psychologist, Aruna Saraugi. She's a rehabilitation psychologist, parenting coach, career coach, and a relationship consultant. Hi and welcome, Aruna.
Thank you so much for having me here.
The best part about the Guftagu is that we have our experts in house. Each of these parental coaches are the parents too, and they're all come here to bring this content, to bring this to you, right? So I'm going to start with the first thing is what is conflict? Because we need to first define what is the problem, right? Because if you don't know what is the problem, how do we solve it? So what is conflict? So Himanshu, like you being a relationship expert and a relationship counselor, how do you define conflict? What is the main idea? What is how would you define conflict?
It's an active opposition between the family members. It's happening with the small things. The variable things are there, like it could be verbal, it could be physical, it could be mental, it could be in fact the intimacy part, financial, psychological, all these things. But it could be very intense, or in a very बहुत short motion से ये चीजें हो सकती हैं. But repetition of things are happening which gradually कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की तरफ ले जाती है.
Thank you so much, Himanshu, for at least defining what is conflict. It could be monetary, it could be psychological. There's different reasons. Now let's speak to Rekha. Rekha would have, I'm sure, a different take because she's also a financial consultant and helps people when it comes to wealth. So many a times we've seen people fight because there's lack of money. I do not get a diamond ring. आपने मेरे लिए गाड़ी नहीं लिया. So do you think wealth is and money is one of the key reasons? What is your take from the monetary aspect of relationship?
Yes, money has been one of the main reasons for conflict. We have always heard many a times, paisa har musibat ka jad, right? Especially when it comes to finance, most of the cases we find that people are not transparent to each other, whereas they need to be transparent to avoid any kind of.
So yes, financial not having enough money and having financial problems and worries is one of the reasons also that we get into conflict. So we're going to also tell you something more about that later in the program where we talk and discuss a lot more about conflict. Swala, Aruna, when we're talking about conflict, psychologically, there's a lot, like there's a psychological warfare happening between parents, right? And that's affecting our children. So, what, according to you, how does conflict happen psychologically? What is the mental background that's happening when one is getting into conflict? If you could throw some light on that.
So, parental conflict, according to me, are arguments and disagreements between parents or any two people that are poorly resolved. Love and conflict are not two ends of a continuum, it can go hand in hand. So, it's not that it's mutually exclusive. So, disagreements in relationships are normal, but if parents disagree from time to time and it is problematic for the children to handle and resolve, then it's a problem. It needs to be addressed. So if the parents they solve their problem eventually, they teach their children problem solving skills. That's okay to have a fight or an argument, but you can have the you can resolve it very well. So parental conflict, I would say, it's disagreement or argument which is prolonged and which is not resolved.
So many a times we're just fighting, but not really getting divorced, not separating, but we're just fighting for small, small things. And these, the things that we say to our family members, or we say to our spouse, or a husband tells to his wife, gets affected by our children, right? Children pick up. So there was a case where there was a kid, and her father used to stay with the mother and used to come over the weekends. So this child goes and tells the father, "Do you have visiting rights?" And the father says, "No, why do you say that? I'm just staying there because the grandparents are not feeling fine." And when the parents actually spoke to the child said, "No, but my friend, her parents are divorced and she gets to meet her father only over the weekends. I thought maybe you're divorced. And last time when you were fighting, you all said that you all are going to get a divorce." So, this is the kind of communication that we have which affects our children. So, I'd like to ask Himanshu, how do children really get affected when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to fights and conflict? How do children get affected?
You know, a child is an emotional being, yet the outer cortex brain of the child is not developed. And everything for the child is emotions. And how these emotions actually help the child to connect with the people, to connect with the world, they experience the world accordingly. If their earlier experience get deteriorated, ऐसा कुछ भी है उनके अनुभव में कुछ कमी आ गई, तो वो ultimately it will affect the entire life of the child. The child will feel loneliness, the child will be more anxious, the child will not able to make relationship, and in fact if he make the relationship, then also he will be more possessive or not able to connect. In fact, with a small child especially, like the brain cells develop in every second 700 new connections are made, and this is very precious time where the experience of child must be very good. And whatever the things, whatever the environment the child is, a child imbibe it, and that imbibe whatever the experience it is, it will be lifetime with the child. So that is why it will definitely, it is going to affect its emotional health, its quality of relationship, and eventually his health in immune system as a being, and will not be able to excel in those things in the life, and it will take lot of time to come up over this thing.
So, one thing that it affects, I think, is also children's performance. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
That it affects the performance and affects the kind of work that they would be doing in school?
right.
Okay. So that means now it's not just about, feeling sad, but it's also going to be affecting their behavior, not just behaviorally, but also academically. So many times when there are fights in the house, we wonder कि हमारे बच्चे को अचानक marks क्यों नहीं आ रहे? Why are they suddenly getting such low grades? And then you realize that actually you notice when parents are in conflict and there is an exam around the corner, children are in the fight mode and flight mode, right? What we talk about. So, Rekha, you are a wealth expert and a DMIT specialist. Do you see these kind of cases coming, or where how does it affect children? Have you had a case where a child's results have come down because of some conflict?
Yes, Sandhya, absolutely. Children has a very huge impact, especially when it comes to the conflicts. They become very aggressive. sometimes, and sometimes they go through a lot of low self-esteem. And I have come across a lot of cases where, you know, children, they stop believing in relationship. Simply come and say that, okay, I never want to get married only, because they don't want to go through what their parents are going. So going forward, there is a time when they stop believing or stop trusting people, stop believing in relationship. They don't uh, find that love, and which affects them in a long run.
So it's not just studies. It's not just psychologically, but children today don't want to get married. So I've seen a lot of kids saying that when parents are in conflict, you tell them, "Do you want to get married?" So like, "Are you mad? Like, have you seen the number of divorce cases happening? You think you're going to get married and be happy? क्या मिलना शादी करके किसी को?" That I think what is I completely agree with what you're saying, because today it is seen that children are losing their feeling at the thing of relationship. There's the belief that a relationship can work. It's really kind of being lost somewhere. uh, Aruna, what is your take on this? I can
Yeah.
see you smiling, so I'm sure you have something very nice to say. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, Sandhya. So, the parental conflict, it surely has an impact on the children. We all are emotional beings, and we are born with two fears only, that is, fear of falling and fear of loud noise. So, when there is a conflict, the child would really feel traumatic and fearful because of the fights, because of the loud voice they are listening at home. So, due to which the bond which they are sharing with the parental figure, with the attachment figure, it might turn into an anxious type or maybe a fearful avoidant type. And this is carried forward in the adulthood. So, in maybe in adulthood, they have an insecure attachment style and they would not trust any relationship. So the initial parental conflict, it creates so much of havoc in a child's life, in relationship, in their behavior, in their academics, in their mental health issues. So it has a huge impact.
In
And there
fact,
has been so many studies related to this. There is the adverse childhood experiences, the ACE studies, which shows the impact on the social and mental uh, area of children. So there have been many studies related to adverse childhood experiences and attachment style, which proves that the home environment is so much crucial for a child's development.
in fact, there have been cases, where people, in fact, a study shown abroad, they said that people start getting divorced at a later stage, like when children have done their post graduation, or when they're in a much older stage, and they say that the reason that's happening is because now they have lived their life, and that's when they want to start living their life, and parents are together because they don't want their children to get affected. So coming, we've had an audience question: when is the right time to tell the child that we are going through a divorce or we are splitting? Himanshu, what is your take on that? When is the right time?
It depend upon case to case, right? So what kind of, if the both the parents are mindful, they have their particular goal, they are knowing that the separation is important, what the separation, how they can enhance, how can they can grow, you know why it is important. A human being, as an I will take an example why the teen have a tension with the parents and those things. Like a child get out of the womb of the mother in 9 months. Similarly, a teen get out of the womb of psychological womb of society at that time. And many people are there who are not able to come up in their 40s 60s also, that also they're not able to take their responsibility. So it depends upon person to person how they are. If they are aware of themselves, then they can make a proper strategy for a child and they can tell them. But sometimes it happens, the some persons, we are in such a relationship where its conflicts are very crucial, and become you know disasters in the life. And since with the I have seen in the cases of women commission, I have found that some people are very mindful, and one of the person is not understanding anything. And this time the action need to be taken at the time only, because to put the child in the secure place where the child feel emotionally stable. That is the most important thing. Yeah.
So there is a right there's no such thing definition of a right time or a wrong time to tell the child. You have to I think weigh the situation and understand at what point of time we want to tell our child that we are going through a divorce or we cannot be together. And I think as parents it's very important to communicate.
In fact,
Uh,
I want to share one of the example which
yeah,
I have
sure.
find which happened with me, that this lady was chartered accountant, but still she was in abusive relationship. His husband used to be drink and those things. And she was having two of the child. And a smaller child was able to sense the drinks, you know. She was demanding for the child. A 3-year child was demanding for the drink. And she was thinking of in बच्चों के exams खत्म हो जाए, then I will get separation and those things. It was happening with her. And 2 times divorce हुआ है. लेने का decision जा चुका था. And what the impact the children were having. That was the time where in that insecure atmosphere, now the immediate action will be given. And she has taken the immediate actions and further. She was not able to see the brighter side of the life. Now she is able to see that.
Uh, Rekha, coming to you, when you're talking about relationships, right? And when someone wants to really get out of something that is really bad, how important it is to talk about financial. Do you want to take a break? Is that all
Yeah,
right?
just give me a
Okay,
minute.
I'll just speak to Aruna then. Sir, Aruna, uh, when you're talking about taking immediate action, right? Uh, how does it psychologically affect a child when you're going to tell a child that you can't be with this parent anymore and we are splitting? Is it important to take their consent? What is your take on that?
Sandha, it totally depends upon the age of the child for taking the consent. If the child is too young, maybe a toddler, then consent does not arise. The child will be egocentric, will not understand about the relationships. Though the child will understand about the fight, the child will have distress whenever there is a conflict or fight in the home, because the child understands the gestures, the facial expressions, and things like that. But over and all, the developmental stage of the 0 to 6 years, the children are mostly egocentric. So if you just give them reassurance that you will get nothing will be changed in your life except you will have two homes, and your both the parents will love you, only they live separately, so I think it won't matter much to them. But the children from 6 to 12 years, they are now they are in the transition period, so they'll have more problem understanding and getting things about divorce. So they might be asking various questions. So it always depends how you answer, take up the question, how you put the issue in front of the children. Do you make it a big issue, or do you talk in a very neutral tone and it is a very normal affair? You can give them books to read. There are various literature available on Amazon and net, so the children can read and go through it, and it can be a normal thing that when two people disagree and they have tried all the ways and they're not able to live together, so this is the only way they can survive and they can live happily. So they need reassurance and security in part of parenting. So as parents can always validate and confirm that we are there, we are not stopping loving you, it's only the love between us has faded. So I hope the developmental age of the child should be taken into consideration, and the way we speak to the children and the home environment.
I think that's very important that we think before we speak because that affects our children. Rekha, I want to ask you a question. When something like this is going to happen, right? Many a times there's going to many a times many a, many times when a divorce is going to happen, right? Or there's a conflict happening, there is going to be a monetary change, right? Many times women want to leave a relationship, but they're scared because they don't know whether they will be able to give their child what they had before. Or a father taking the child away doesn't know whether he'll be able to. You have the money to give your child everything, but you do not want the child to be with the mother. So, how important is the money, monetary aspect of it, and how much can you work with the money to make your child in a happy state?
Yeah. First of all, one has to, when they are taking a decision, one has to be mindful enough. They should understand that, the conflicts are between the parents and not with parent and the child, right? So keeping the child's future in mind, one has to take a decision mindful. And suppose if at all the case remains that they can't be together and they want to exit, they don't want to keep any relation with the child, then the partner, whoever is left with the child, a mother or a father, they don't have an option other than accepting the situation. And also at the same time, they have to explain the situation to the child, so that for both of them it becomes easier to go through that trauma and support each other. Especially when it comes to finance, the entire burden shifts to one parent, right? They have to take care of their own mental health, they have to take care of the child's mental health, and also they have to take care of their needs, especially when it comes to finance, right? So one has to have move on and start being financially independent, don't have to depend on the other partner for, right? So the best way is to explain the child the situation, accept the situation, and start moving on for their betterment.
Uh, my next question is communication, right? When you're talking about relationships, you talked about when is the right time to tell them, how it's going to affect them. How do we communicate, and how important is communication in this time? Himanshu.
Communication is a sense of, soul of any relationship. The whatever the give and take, what are the feeling we share to the communication. It's not only the communication of the words, it's the communication. In fact, the feelings have the communication. It's about the postures and the gestures, the kind of body etiquettes we keep. All things communicate, and child observe everything. And whatever the communication, the kind of things you are communicating in home, actually you are developing a personality. You're reflecting a personality. And it is often said that I always say that if your child is 7 year old, less than 7 year old, then he is reflecting what is happening in your home. So be mindful that about, wow, you're doing that.
So, Rekha, when you talk about communication, is it important to tell our children? Like I've seen many times that parents are fighting and they put each other down, saying that you do not have the money to take care of our children. You're not earning enough for us. So when we are communicating that the parent is not financially, or you're going through a financial struggle, how do we handle this communication with our children as well as our spouse? If you could throw some light on that, because that's very important in the relationship, and many a times we say things unknowingly. How important is that? How do you handle that situation? Like, if you could throw some light on
Yeah. So actually, when it comes to finance, people, again I say that if one is not transparent, say suppose the husband is not transparent to the wife about his finance, okay, then the conflicts arises because the wife thinks he is earning so much of money, right? And why he is not able to fulfill our needs. And at the same time, the husband on his place, he thinks that, being a wife, she should understand my situation. And that is where, the communication gap is there. Okay. One has to clearly communicate. If any one of them, whether it is a husband or a wife, is going through any kind of financial issues, they should first open up, speak to the other partner. It is always not necessary that, one have to fight. There is always a way for a discussion. They not necessary in front of the child, specifically when it is a financial matter. Yeah, if a child is a grown up child, then it is okay, but you have to only explain the situation, because a child can't give you a solution to the problem, right? So first discuss with your partner what can be done, focus on the solution rather than just discussing or arguing about the problems. It's not going to solve, right? So focus on the solution, come out, work together, and be transparent to each other. And you can then, once you come out with the solution, then you can tell your child that this is what we are going through. If you want something, you can wait for some time so that we will have enough money to fulfill your. So there is always a way to communicate it. If it is communicated at the right way, the message is going right. Otherwise, everything will be messed up.
In fact, many times you see teenagers and youngsters fighting with their parents that हमको ये iPhone चाहिए, मेरे friend के पास है. Like a mother says, why can't you get it for the child? Why can't you get an iPhone? Probably the father's not earning 1 lakh to get a phone, but you don't want, and our society makes us want to show that we are doing well in life. हमारे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, आपके पास क्या है? वो dialogue सुना होगा picture में. See, I know that it's a little tongue in cheek right now, but your आपके पास माँ है, right? The dialogue from that movie still is pertinent. So when we talk about, we talk about finance. Like, I think finance and wealth, and we talk about materialistic goods is not the only thing, and it's very important to teach our children. I think that is very important. From what I'm getting is that we need to teach our children how important it is, right? Uh, Aruna, psychologically, when you want to communicate, because sometimes, many times, like what she said, the stress, like a father or a mother, they're going through this turmoil and it's running in their head. They're so psychologically disturbed. Many a times there have been cases where, we have seen families come, like, there have been articles in papers where people have killed themselves because they couldn't go through that stress. They couldn't get someone to talk to. How important is psychological stability and mental health in something like this in a relationship? How important it is for you to be able to be mentally strong in a situation like this? Aruna.
Yes, Sandhya. Yes, Sandhya. So, whatever conflict happens due to some problem or issue in life. So, the problem can be a practical problem or it can be an emotional problem. Now, again, the practical problem can be solvable or it can be perpetual. So, it's seen that the perpetual problem is more than the solvable one. So, if it is perpetual, we have to accept it. And if it is solvable, we should find out ways to solve it. But we all are emotional beings and we have emotional issues. So are all any situation, the situation is not the reason for our distress. It is the interpretation of the situation which causes distress. So we have to change the way we think. The way Once we change the way we think, we can change the way we feel, because there is a triangle between the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. So we can change our negative automatic thoughts into rational ones. And you can seek the help of a therapist for changing your negative automatic thoughts. It can be done very well. And through this, and the communication, the way you communicate. So, communication is again verbal and non-verbal. So, you should be really mindful of the way you speak, the words you use, the tone of your voice, the gestures, the body language. So, all these things you have to learn mindfulness. So, when we are stressed or we are distressed, we have a diffused physiological arousal, which leads us to a way in which we are not able to distinguish ourselves from our thoughts and emotions. So we have to just take a step back and be mindful of what is going on in our mind. What are the emotions we are feeling? Where are we feeling those emotions? And likewise, we can handle.
Thank you so much, Aruna. I think that's really wonderfully put that, psychologically we need to be stable. We need to be mindful about what we're saying because our non-verbal, we could be saying, I love my wife and I'm so happy, but you're not showing it, right? Himanshu, you are a relationship coach, right? So what is the one thing that you tell parents to to do as a tip, like what you to tell them to show this kind of relationships, because in our Indian society hugging and kissing is really considered like, oh my god. अभी मतलब in cities it is still there, but काफी जगहों पे काफी families में अगर husband wife ने hug कर दिया तो oh my god mama is hugging dada, oh my god, like, so how important is intimacy also to be like how much do we show our children that we love, because I think that is also very important in a parental conflict, that many times people get out of a relationship because they're not getting something what they're getting in this relationship, right? So Himanshu, could you throw some light, because our Indian society is very different. Abroad, it is all right to go and hug your spouse, give a kiss on the cheek. So अपने सोसाइटी में अगर हमको प्यार जताना है तो कैसे जताते हैं, बिकॉज यू आर अ रिलेशनशिप कोच, सो आई एम श्योर यू कैन ब्रिंग इट आउट इन योर, आप कथा सुनाते रहते हैं हम लोग को, तो प्लीज जरा इस पे थोड़ा टिप्पणियां दीजिए, तो जी रियली नाइस टू हियर दैट फ्रॉम
I will take two or three things here. एक रामचरितमानस की कथा है, एक छोटी सी है कि राम और सीता दोनों जब जंगल से जाते रहते हैं तो एक दिखता है बड़ा सा वृक्ष, बड़ा सा पेड़ दिखता है, उस पे बेलियां छाई हुई रहती हैं। तो बेलियों को देख के सीता जी बोलती हैं ये बेलियों में है क्या? उस ऐसे ही इतरा रही हैं, ऐसे ही खिली हुई, ऐसे ही फैली हुई हैं जैसे वो खुद ही पेड़ हो। राइट। तो राम जी समझ जाते हैं उनके कहने का तात्पर्य क्या है। राम जी कहते हैं उस पेड़ में है क्या? वो तो सूखा हुआ लकड़ी जैसा है, वो बेलियां उसके ऊपर खिली हुई हैं, तभी वो पेड़ वृक्ष वृक्ष दिख रहा है ऐसा करके। सो यहाँ पे एक्चुअल में ये दोनों राम और सीता एक दूसरे की तारीफ कर रहे हैं, और डीपर एक्सपेक्ट में देखा जाए तो एक फेमिनाइन एनर्जी एंड मस्कुलाइन एनर्जी के बीच में बात हो रही है। हाउ द फेमिनाइन एनर्जी, हाउ द इमोशंस आर, हाउ वो कैसे ऑक्युपाइड रहते हैं, कैसे वो बिलीफ में आते हैं, और एक मस्कुलाइन एनर्जी कैसे स्टेबल रहता है। इट्स नॉट अबाउट द फेमिनाइन एनर्जी में, ये मस्कुलाइन एनर्जी की बात कर रहा हूँ। यहाँ पे फीमेल और मेल के जेंडर की मैं डिफरेंशिएशन की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ। इंटरनली मेल भी फेमिनाइन जैसा हो सकता है और फीमेल भी मस्कुलाइन जैसे हो सकती है। हम हमारी कॉम्पेबिलिटी को समझना है कि हाउ वी आर, एंड इस कॉम्पेबिलिटी का जब सॉल्यूशन हो जाता है, समझ में आ जाता है, तो वी कैन डिफाइन आवर गोल्स, व्हाई वी आर। क्योंकि ये जो फेमिनाइन एनर्जी है, ये समझो समझो आपका कंप्यूटर का सॉफ्टवेयर है, और जो हार्डवेयर है तो फिर है ना एप्पल है। दिस इज द थिंग, है ना।
Yes.
तो यहाँ पर ये चीज काम करती है। एंड मैं जब काम करता हूँ किसी के साथ भी, तो मैं बोलता हूँ आप ऑफिस से आए, आप सिर्फ 20 मिनट का टाइम ऐसे रखें ना, जहाँ पे आप कोई जज नहीं करना है, कुछ नहीं करना है। शाम की चाय भी हो गई, अगर चाय नहीं लेते तो ग्रीन टी, वॉट एवर इट टेक्स, एंड लिसन टू, एक दूसरे को वहां से सुनना चालू करें। कितना भी आप मालूम है मुश्किल सिचुएशन से गुजर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो 20 मिनट्स का नॉन जजमेंटल लिसनिंग जो है ना, लिसनिंग जो पावर है, वो रिलेशनशिप को, अगेन जैसे रिलेशनशिप छोटी छोटी लड़ाई से खराब हुई थी, टॉवेल यहाँ क्यों है, जूते यहाँ क्यों है, यहाँ से स्टार्ट होती है, और धीरे धीरे धीरे, क्योंकि हम अलग अलग सोसाइटी से आते हैं, अलग अलग जोन से आते हैं, इकट्ठे होते हैं।
Absolutely.
एंड ये जैसे ही रेजोनेट होके बड़ा हुआ था, ये सिमिलर कॉन्सेप्ट, ये 20 मिनट की चाय जो है ना, ये सिमिलर रेजोनेट करके ये भी बड़ी हो जाती है, एंड यू विल फाइंड द लव।
Correct. So it's not about just hugging and kissing, it's also about just spending 10 minutes, a little time when the person comes home, make a cup of tea,
Respect to each other.
respect each other. Yeah. Uh, Rekha, I saw you smiling when he said Apple, and I thought I should come back to you because we all want Apple phones and we want the diamond rings. Typically, like many women, men also want that. We want things because of the one was like I said, the relationship is intimacy. The other thing is also monetary aspect, right? When we don't get something, so how does one handle this situation when I am not given something that I want, or I've been told that okay, I will give you the diamonds and suddenly I can't give you. So how does one handle that? Like how does one handle that situation? Because I'm sure you're dealing with cases, so you can definitely give us a light on that.
Yes, Sandhya, I do come across a lot of cases where, the wives always complain that, my husband don't give me this, I expect this from him. The only thing what I say is, if you expect something from your partner, make him understand, express it. You tell that, yes, I want this. You know, sometimes it is important to express your emotions. Of course, if there is a good understanding, the other partner will understand. But वो जो हम सोच के रहते हैं ना, अरे मेरा husband है तो उसको तो पता होना चाहिए what I want, या मेरी
Correct.
wife है तो
Absolutely.
she should know what I want now. ये
Absolutely.
concept दिमाग से निकाल ले, because it's a very busy life, right? Suppose understand that the husband is also working, the wife is also working. When they come back home, they are completely into a different mindset, right? At that point of time, the husband want to have a cup of tea, but he is not telling the wife. And the wife thinks, oh, it's already 7 o'clock. Let me prepare the dinner so that we all can have dinner together. एंड पता चलता फिर हस्बैंड मुंह बना के बैठा हुआ है एंड ही सेज कि मैं तो चाय एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था। अरे एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे, बाद में बोल रहे हो, आप पहले बोल दो आई नीड अ कप ऑफ टी, दैट्स इट। So
Correct.
when it comes to monetary also, Sandhya, again and again I repeat the same thing. One has to be transparent. It happens in our Indian culture that women are always behind when it comes to finance, when it comes to money. even though
Correct.
they are literate, even though they are working, they are in a very good position. But when it comes to finance, they always depend on a male person. Either it's their father or a husband or a brother or anybody.
Correct.
I would suggest that even if you are not working, please have some basic financial literacy. It is very, very important. And to all the men who are listening to us, please give them that basic financial literacy so that they can understand. Otherwise, you know what happens, Sandhya? I've gone
Yeah.
through cases where the husband has suddenly passed away because of some reason. And the wife don't even know his, laptop password.
Yeah.
And now you can understand at that situation what kind of, you know, uh, the crisis the wife is going through. Similarly, in case of wife also, you know, people, being a wealth coach, I always suggest my client that uh, I give them a format. I tell them, both the husband and the wife, you maintain all your financial things in one Excel sheet and keep sharing it with each other. Even when you're changing a password of your system,
Very true.
the other partner should know. That way you can balance everything, your relationship, your financial, everything.
I think that's very important that we share our information. In fact, there was a case where a husband passed away, and the wife didn't know where all her husband has invested money. He has put in mutual funds, he has put in shares, he's got 3, 4 bank accounts, but he has not told anyone about it. And he suddenly passed away and she's crying, I don't know where it is. I said, like, why didn't you ask? Kabhi pucha nahi. But you don't think that something like this could happen to you, right? You don't think, we do not want to think of an adverse situation. कैसे हो सकता है? And we are hiding because अगर my wife comes to know कि मेरे पास इतना पैसा है, then she'll start asking and demanding. Right? So we are also hiding. Sometimes women also do that.
Yes, definitely.
We keep our stuff. We have a stash of हम लोग का जो पैसा हम लोग सेव करके रखते हैं. अचानक हमको कुछ खरीदना है तो we go and spend our money, and then the husband says ये पैसा कहाँ से आ गया, where did this money come from, where I'm struggling. So I think when it comes to money matters, I think Rekha is also going to be coming on a program in a couple of days. Rekha, when are you coming on that program? You're coming on a program. We're
This
talking about.
Sunday.
So this Sunday, Rekha is coming on a program Shak Se Shakhsiyat Tak, where she's going to be talking about how to get financially independent. So please do watch that program where you'll get some more information on how to become financially independent if you're watching this program, because that's also part of our Carnival of Hope. And do register for it because it's going to be a Zoom session. Aruna, since you're talking about all of this, I can see you smiling there. So when it comes to psychology, what are your, if I were to ask you, what are the tips that you would give your, if someone came to you and said, what are the tips that I can do to be happy, have a happier relationship? So what are the things that you would give? What's the kind of advice you'd give?
Yes, Sandhya. So, if anybody comes in distress or having conflict in their relationship, I would always suggest them to modify their conflicts, the way they talk to each other, the way they see disagreements cannot be ruled out. Disagreements are there whenever there are two people involved. It's the way of interacting. So you might have difference of opinion, you might have disagreements. So it's okay to have that. So the way you communicate has to change. You have to modify the way you communicate. Second, you have to build instances to build intimacy and friendship. And third, you should have a shared meaning in life. So when a couple have a shared meaning in life whatsoever, they work towards it and they have less of disagreements and they let themselves be influenced by their partner and they also influence their partner. So the relationship is of friendship, it's not of a power. Nobody is posing a power on the other partner. So I would suggest the relationship more than romance, it should be friendship.
Thank you so much, Renu. I think, Aruna, that was so wonderful because I think, it's very important to understand how our relationships are going. Uh, Himanshu, how does one deal with a situation when there is no choice, when there is nothing to do? Like sometimes you're in a situation where आपको पता नहीं कि इससे कैसे निकले, how to handle the situation. So, what is your take on that? How does one handle that?
You know, there are certain processes which we do. One of the thing is there that two of the things which will be very funny also I want to share here, that once you accept the nature of the person, okay, how they are, so it will help to understand the person. Like we have the pets in house, okay, and the pets have different behavior, and somebody have the wild animals as a pet too, like tiger, tigresses, the snakes, whatever they be. But we know that what the nature of the person that pet is, and we behave accordingly. So once we are having that perception clear about the person, and we will then we can understand the person, हमें मालूम चीजें समझ में आएगी। हम उनको जब स्पेस देंगे, एक प्राइवेट स्पेस हो जाता है, ओके इनके यहाँ पे ये नहीं करना है, छोटा छोटा जो स्पेस देना, एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग आती है, एक पर्सनल जोन जब हम देना स्टार्ट करते हैं, तो जहाँ पर जो पर्सनल ग्रोथ है पर्सन का, एक वैक्यूम मिलता है जहाँ पे वो पर्सन सोच सकता है अपने बारे में, एंड ये दे कैन डिटैच विद द विद द थिंग्स। एंड स्टिल क्या होता है कि कई बार इन द फाइट्स इतने ज्यादा हो जाते हैं कि हम मालूम है किसी चीज से बहुत ज्यादा इरिटेट हो जाते हैं। वंस वी गेट इनटू द दैट जोन, देन इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट, वहां से वापस आ पाना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है। लेकिन उसके लिए भी मेरे पास एक बहुत फनी सा एक एक एक्सरसाइज है दैट आई वांट टू डू इफ समबडी इज व्हाट आई डू, कि सोचिए कि एक किसी की बात आपके, हो सकता है आपके बॉस ने बहुत बुरी बात कही जहां पे आपका कोई बस नहीं है, ऐसी बात, और वो आपको बार बार आपके कानों में गूंज रही है ना। सिंस वी नो द इमोशंस, है ना, जो हम कम्युनिकेशन
Yes.
करते हैं उसमें वर्ड्स सिर्फ हमारे 10% है, बाकी तो उसके जो नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। जो नॉन वर्बल जो चीजें हैं वो उसमें अटैच है, वो चीज हमको इफेक्ट 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 डालती है। तो सपोज करो कि आप हैं कहीं पर, आपको वो बात मिल गई, आपको बात वो बार बार चुभ रही है, तो बात को आप उस पोटली में एक बांधिए, उसको बांधिए। और सभी ने, हमने बचपन में डोनाल्ड डक तो देखा हुआ है, राइट, डोनाल्ड डक हमने, तो पोटली को बांध के हम आप ऊपर फेंक दीजिए। समझो डोनाल्ड डक है, वो प्लेन से जा रहा था, पोटली उसको मिल गई, उसने गप ग्लब कर लिया, और बात इतनी ज्यादा वजन थी, उस बात में इतनी ज्यादा वजन थी कि डोनाल्ड डक प्लेन से गिर गया। और उसी बात को वो डोनाल्ड डक फिर से कह रहा है, लेकिन वो अपनी आवाज में कह रहा है। एंड द सेम द वर्ड्स विच इज रिपीटिंग इन योर माइंड, जस्ट लिसन इन द वॉइस ऑफ डोनाल्ड डक। ये मेंटल एक्सरसाइज है। और जैसे आप उस डोनाल्ड डक की आवाज में सुनते हैं, जैसे कि तुम ऐसे हो, और डोनाल्ड डक कहेगा तुम ऐसे हो, लाइक तो जितने भी इमोशंस उस कम्युनिकेशन में दिमाग में रहता है ना, तो दिमाग को दूसरी चीजें मिल जाती हैं, ओके, उनके इमोशंस डिटैच हो जाते हैं उस वर्ड्स की, एंड द वर्ड बिकम फर्टाइल, एंड यू गिव अगेन यू गेट दैट वैक्यूम वेयर यू कैन बी मोर माइंडफुल। सो जोन से निकलना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, एंड दिस एक्सरसाइज वर्क्स। इफ यू आर डूइंग इट डेली, देन यू विल बी हैप्पी।
Wow, that's nice. So next time someone's yelling, I will think that person is Donald Duck. Is that's what I've understood. But the problem is that what if I start getting angry when that person is shouting? Then won't it backfire? मतलब गड़बड़ी हो जाएगी अगर कोई चिल्ला रहा है और मैं उसको डोनाल्ड डक की तरह समझ रही हूँ।
वहाँ पे बैकफायर हो रहा है, जहाँ पे चीज हो रही है, तो यू नीड टू बी, सिंस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द चाइल्ड एंड दोस
Yeah,
थिंग्स, चाइल्ड इन द फ्रंट ऑफ चाइल्ड में तो फिर वो सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता। मेक इट इन द
correct,
प्राइवेट एंड कम्युनिकेट। और जहाँ पर भी हो, ये चीजें आपको मालूम है, आपकी कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है। योर चाइल्ड इज योर कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, एंड यू
absolutely,
कांट बिहेव इन दिस मैनर एट द फ्रंट ऑफ चाइल्ड। इतना तो आपको कमिटमेंट करना ही पड़ेगा खुद से, एज अ कपल, एज अ थिंग,
right,
season, whatever you are. So this
correct.
thing you have to do, and first of all, you need to detach the child from that atmosphere, and your things will be resolved later. But the first thing is that you need to take care of the child.
Correct, absolutely. Rekha, what is your take? What is your tip to parents on how to handle the conflict when someone is in conflict and going through stress? How does one handle it? What does one do?
Okay. So, one tip what I want to give all the parents or all the people who are listening here is there are three A's which you need to do. The first is accept. Accept the person as they are. If you understand their nature, if you know how they are, how they want to do it, it becomes easy for you to handle any kind of situation. Now, the second thing is allow. You have to allow the other person to be how they are, what they are. Do not expect any kind of changes that you want them to do. Do not force it. Because when you're forcing it, then again, we are sowing the seed of for the conflicts. Right? The third thing is appreciate. Appreciate all the small acts. It's not just with your partner, even with your child. Right? Small things, whatever they do. Oh yeah, well done. You have done awesome. That's it. That makes their day, right? So appreciate each and everything, whatever they do. Not only for you, but in common, whatever they do, right? And three C's, which I always ask them not to do is first is criticize. Do not criticize anyone and in front of anybody. Not about your wife, not about your husband, not about your child, not about your parents, not about anybody. Second thing is complain. Stop complaining. We always say, अरे आज मेरा नेटवर्क नहीं चल रहा है, आज मेरा ये नहीं हो रहा है, आज मेरे बॉस ने मुझे डांट दिया. My child is not listening to me. The more you're complaining, the more you're inviting, right? So stop complaining. And the third most important thing is compare. Do not compare the other person with anyone. So I have to give a small example. Like a wife is expecting her husband to gift her a, say, diamond necklace on their anniversary. And the husband ends up giving her a ring. You know, तुरंत instead of appreciating and thanking, तुरंत वो वाइफ अगर इस तरह से रिएक्ट करती है कि अरे मेरे फ्रेंड के हस्बैंड ने तो उसको डायमंड के नेकलेस दिया था और तुम मेरे लिए इतना भी नहीं कर सकते. No comparison. Whatever is the capability of the partner, just understand that they are trying to give their best to you, right? Obvious है ना, कोई भी नहीं चाहेगा कि हम अपने पार्टनर को दुखी करें, right? So do not compare anyone with anyone, especially in case of children also. We keep comparing. अरे मेरा बेटा ना सिर्फ ड्राइंग अच्छा करता है, he is not good in maths, he is not good in sports. Do not compare. Everyone in this uh, on this earth is unique. Every human being is unique, and everyone has their own unique talents. So you can't expect कि वो इस तरीके से करे या ये उसके जैसे बने. Not everyone can be a Sachin Tendulkar, or not everyone can be an Amitabh Bachchan. Right? So if you follow these things, I think you can avoid a lot of conflicts, whatever happens in the relationship.
Wow, so interesting. So the three A's that you said, one is acceptance, one is allow them to do things that they want to do, and the third A is to appreciate your wife or your spouse, right? And the three C's that you do not want to do is you do not want to criticize, you do not want to complain, and you do not want to compare, right? So these are the key points जो आप मन में रखो. It's easy to do, because I think we also tell this at mindful parenting that this is what we also do for our children. So as it should also apply for the adults in the house, not just for children. Aruna, I can see you smiling, so I'm sure you have a different take and a different strategy, because we're looking for strategies on how to help the situation, right? So what is the kind of strategy that you give to your kind of clients, and what are the things that you do?
So, conflicts generally arises due to the relationship standards we have, So every person have their own standards relating to their belief system, the way the other partner should be dressing, or maybe the way the partner should present herself, or whatever. So the standards. So if we want to reduce the conflict, we need to alter the standards, and it should be acceptable. It should not be that the other partner cannot accept the altered standards. So communication is again the key. And for emotions, we can practice certain emotion regulation techniques. Like one is like diffusing. Generally the couple or the partner comes with a diffused emotion, with a fused emotion. So the emotion can be diffused by asking, by seeing, where do we feel the emotion, how big is it, does it carry any shape or weight. So that can be released from your energy body by being mindful, by experiencing it in the now and here and now. And it could be released through your root chakra. So some energy work can be done along with the emotions, awareness of the emotions. And then we can always ask them to state certain things which can they can see through their five senses. So this is also a mindfulness activity. Anything different that you can see in the room today, anything, any different voice you can hear, any different order you can smell. So this thing will make them more mindful, and their emotional state will get down. So there is always a peak in your anxiety or your emotional level, and then there comes a downward. So we can always bring the client to the downward, and then they can think clearly and more rationally. So this is one of the technique. And whenever there is a conflict, the other person may be defensive, or may be criticizing the other person, or maybe having a contempt, or maybe stonewalling. So we can always practice antidotes, like we can accept responsibilities for defensiveness. We can start a culture of appreciation in the house rather than criticizing and letting down the person. We can devise a ritual in the house. We can develop this culture of appreciating for the small things done by anybody. Maybe a good meal cooked, maybe some work done without asking. So a culture of appreciation will reduce the contempt and criticism in the house. And then stonewalling can always be reduced by some soothing exercises. Like you can practice some self-care techniques. You can take out some time for yourself where you can dwell upon your thoughts and just be mindful. So these techniques will surely help anyone going through emotional turmoil in any relationship.
In fact, we had one question also from the audience. When a parent walks out of a relationship and doesn't want to have anything to do with the child, it has happened in cases where a father or a mother has walked out of a relationship and they do not want to do anything. It's like overnight they pack up and they go and they're like, I don't want to do have anything to do with the child or the wife or husband, whoever it is. How does this affect, and how does one handle a situation like this? How does one tell a child that that parent doesn't want to be with you, and if you're going to do this, if you're going to walk out, what are the things that I would have to do to keep myself mentally stable? Anyone who would like to take this question? Himanshu, would like to take it? Yeah.
Okay. In this situation, it is very bad for the child, first of all. It should not happen. But it depends upon the age of the child. You know, if you will see, एक बस में या ट्रेन में जब या मूवी में हम जब भी छोटे बच्चे के साथ जाते हैं, वो बच्चा हमेशा देखता है, पापा नहीं है तो पापा है क्या, पापा है क्या, मम्मी नहीं है तो मम्मी है क्या. He always try to, you know, bring them together. He always try to see them together. But this is very sad thing, which this condition is the, it's a near to death of a parent. What they are talking, near to death of the parent. So similarly, somebody is going through the life, and another person has to pay the both the role of the parents, or any of the another caretaker is there as who is going to be role play by them, and the another partner is coming, whatever kind of thing is coming. But the sudden thing is like that only, and it is emotional trauma for the child, and child will take time to heal and take time to heal.
So basically, one has to handle it mindfully. Uh, but
Yeah.
what do you tell a child in such a situation? Rekha, what would you tell a child if something like this happened? How would you handle it?
Yeah. So, uh, with the child, again, it depends on the age, how old the child. If it is a grown up child, even the smaller kids, the other partner, whoever is left with, has to be very honest and explain the situation. I know that it is very difficult for the partner who is going through the trauma himself or herself, and then explaining the things to the child. It is difficult, but I would suggest that one need to be honest, because it can't be like today I'm telling something and then tomorrow I come up with something else, because the expectation of the child will grow. Say suppose uh, a mother says that he has gone out somewhere, he'll come and meet you after a month, right? This is something, we are sowing the false hope on the child. At that point of time, maybe the child agrees and he's okay with it or she's okay with it. But after a month, again, the question will arise, and you will be in the same situation. I mean, the partner will be in the same situation. So, to avoid all these things, it is better to be honest, even though the truth is really harsh to accept, and definitely it is going to take its own time to heal. But in the process, at least both of them can be together to be supportive to each other, and spend some quality time with each other so that they can overcome this.
So I think communication is key in this, because a
Absolutely.
child is going to go through so much of trauma, and as a parent, we have to be mindful, not just be selfish about our own needs and have our own egos, which happens when there is a conflict, because at that point of time, you're really not thinking rationally, like when you get out in anger. So, which is why they tell you that decision taken when you're super angry, or a decision taken when you're super happy, when you're in extreme things, never take it. So you could be super happy, say, okay, I'm going to give you all the money I have, and tomorrow you realize, okay, like I said something wrong. So a decision taken in haste, because it's going to be a lifetime thing. So also when you're going through a divorce, or you're going through this entire relationship of finding, this whole thing affects our children so much. They go through turmoil. It is mentally stressing them out. They're unable to concentrate. I would like to ask you a question on this. Like, someone has asked a question. When we are telling our children that the parent is not going to come back, how do we psychologically make ourselves stronger? You know,
Yeah, in anybody, we all have some needs and fears. So it's always that how we communicate about our fears and our needs. We always want to have a secure bond. We seek for people and we ask, are you there? So R is the acronym, which means, are you accessible when I want you? Are you responsive? And are you engaged in my day to day affair? And whatever I do, whenever I need a shoulder to cry upon, are you there? So whenever there is a person on whom we can rely, that person can be anyone who's there available 24 into 7, not physically but mentally, emotionally to us, then we definitely feel more secured, and we are able to handle any life situation, any life's distressing, challenging situation in a more rational and solvable, problem solving manner. So
uh,
whatsoever the situation, if we have a secured bond, a person on whom we can look up to, we definitely can sail through this life's journey very easily.
in fact, when I was going to do this program, someone asked me, if you could ask this question to people, uh, if, say, you are divorced or you're separated and you're going to get remarried, how do you tell the child that there is a new parent coming into your life? Or do you tell that this is going to be an uncle in your life? Or do you tell that this is going to be your new father or your new mother? Who would like to answer this question? Or if you can give a light on this?
Shall
Himanshu,
I?
I see you smiling. Or Aruna. Okay, Aruna, take
If
it. Yeah.
Himanshu wants to go
No,
first, he can.
y'all can give your takes. I'm completely open to it, because it is a question that has come, and I think many of us get, we do not want to ask this question, and this is a forum where we are opening up. So this is a question that comes. I'm getting, suppose if someone's getting remarried, how do I tell my child? How do I tell my child that, okay, I need this love, I need to have a partner, because the child is not going to understand that a new dad is coming, or do I call him dad or do I call him uncle? That's the kind of communication that we have a problem with. So Himanshu.
Okay, in this situation, you know, first of all, the things must be done is that when the person who's coming in the life of the child must make a separate relationship with the child if it is possible. because any make any encounter 2 or 3 times, 4 times, and start communicating with the child, start knowing that, and make a personal relationship with the child. It is there. If it is if it is built, then it will be very easy to turn up with the situations. In fact, the child understand today's the child understand the importance of relationship. If a child is more than 7 year old, they will also to the mama is how the mama or the father will live alone, and so things are there. So they imbibe the things, they take the responsibility of their parents too, especially with the single parents it happens. And the quality of relationship you're having with the child, actually, it will make it more richer. So it is a collective things, it's a teamwork which need to be done.
Thanks, Himanshu. Anyone else would like to give a take on this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sandhya.
Aruna?
Yeah,
Yeah, Aruna.
Sandhya. It's a major life event, you know. It's like a sibling coming to your life. There's always a sibling rivalry, like the new child coming in, the older one feels jealous, having problem. So it's in the same manner. So the transition has to be very smooth and has to be done in a right manner, depending upon the age of the child. The child can be taken as a team rather than thinking the child to be a separate entity. The whole family can work as a team and welcome the new member in the family whatsoever. So communication again is the key, the environment is the key. So the way you portray, the way you communicate, and the anxiety, you know, always the children, they observe us. So they observe how we respond, how we react to situations. So if we make it a big deal, they will take it as a big deal. If we normalize it, they would take it as a normal affair. So it all depends on how we communicate, how we speak to them.
Rekha, we have got someone saying that children might not accept the whole thing. They might be rebellious. So how does one handle a child when the child is going to become rebellious? How do we give them time? How do we explain this to them? Because when there is a conflict, like and now when we get into this relationship or we're getting into a new relationship, do we tell bad things about the other parent? Or do we continue saying that, okay, this is a question that had come also sometime back to me, and it put me in a tight spot because your suppose that person has really been abusive and he's beaten you and all, and you don't want to tell your child that, right? You don't want to tell your child that this is what has happened. How do you handle a situation like that?
So, in this kind of thing, it's really important even for the partner to exit this kind of toxic relation, because you can't survive it for on a longer run. Okay. So, again, you need to keep out the child of all these discussions, or whatever you are going. But you have to, at the same time, put it in a nicer way. Give the child enough time to understand your situation, your pain, what you are going through, and then you know uh, try to help them out, and slowly you can tell them that you want to exit out of this relation, and that is what is best. So you have to make them understand it in a nice way. Again, communication is matters a lot. you know how you tell it. You can't just go and tell that, okay, I'm exiting. It can't be like this, right? It has to be the entire process need to be very smooth, very honest, and one need to be emotionally strong enough to tell this to the child, and also help the child to overcome this.
We have really, I think this is a topic we can go on talking about, and there's so many questions that I would love to ask you, but we're running short of time today. In fact, our next program that's coming is on overcoming hurdles in life, where we're talking about children who run away, children who are committing suicide. Today the kind of life and the kind of hurdles they're going through. So that is going to be our next program on Guftagu. But I must thank all our members, and I think you'll have poured in a lot of light onto parental conflict. And the one key thing and the key takeaway from all of this is communication is key. You have to communicate to your child. And I think when you start communicating to your child when the child is a baby, when the child is small, that is when your relationship, even as you grow, that your I think you build a relationship only through communication. Even conflict happens if there is no communication, right? So it could be conflict with the children because there is no communication. There's conflict in a parental relationship because there's no communication. So I think effective communication is key in any relationship. Do not try to you don't guess what the other person is thinking. I think key thing is to ask and understand. If you feel the person is having a problem, please ask your spouse what is going on in your life. And I think as a spouse, it's our duty to also tell and inform that this is what I'm going through. I'm having a bad day. As women, we just, many of us keep it up. Some men also keep it up. It's important to say, listen, I've had a bad day. I really want a cup of chai. Aapka adrak wala chai, that kind of will bring a smile in my face. So give a hug, I think, give a hug, hold hands, kiss on the forehead. The small things that you can communicate to a better relationship to reduce conflict. And you have our experts here. So if you have any more questions, do get in touch with them. They'll be able to help you out. I myself am a parental coach and a parental conflict expert and an effective communicator, effective communications expert. Uh, I do talks on that, and that I think that is key to any relationship. I must thank Himanshu. Himanshu, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aruna, for joining us,
Thank you. It was
and
a pleasure.
thank you, Rekha, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It has been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. God bless. And let's start loving our spouses more. Take care and God bless.